This thing is awesome for scraping the brick. The reason that it's really good is because you can get nice and flat and tight on the brick, but also you can smooth out and smooth across on the pointing as well in between the bricks. And so I've got really, really crisp, smooth lines up and down now. The difficulty with this is it does not get into the crevices on the brick. So it smoothed it flat, but it does not scrub it clean, versus the brush, the wire brush, which gets into all of those little cracks over time and cleans it up in a very, very different way. And so you end up with a cleaner brick this way, but a smoother brick this way. And so sadly, you basically need to go over the whole thing twice. But a combination of the two, metal wire brush and the painter's decorating knife, between the two of those, although it's a little bit of a longer job, you'll end up with a really, really clean brick with nice crisp edges. So we are in the process of redecorating this room, and I was stripping the wallpaper here yesterday, and a lot of this plaster had blown, and you can kind of hear and see that it's actually got a lot of gaps there. It's a little bit more stable down at the bottom here, but all of this stuff was so loose it just popped off. You can see all of that. I mean, it's a 100-year-old lime and horsehair render with a skim over the top. This stuff they've obviously redone. It's clearly blown before, because you can see the outline here all the way around, like a big Rosetta Stone, where they've done it with new smooth plaster, and that stuff's really solid. But up here, you can hear it really does start getting hollow and bad again. So what I've been doing is stripping that off. I've got some proper rubble bags as well, so I'll be stripping it off fully. And I've got this new Hikoki brushless hammer drill, which I'm quite looking forward to having a go with. It's got 3 different settings: hammer, hammer and drill, or just drill. I've got 2 5-amp-hour batteries for it. So I'm quite looking forward to giving this a go and seeing how well it does. I've got some kind of generic bits here which I've had for years, and they're pretty good. They are pretty good. So I've got these ready to go. I have let my neighbours know next door that I'm going to be doing this, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's a sociable time, and the kids are going to be outside playing out there, so that it's not dangerous for them. So I've got my earplugs ready to go, and I've got this dust mask as well, which is nice. It's quite small. You can clean the filters as well, or replace them if you can't be bothered to clean them. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. I've had it for years now. I bought it from Screwfix. It wasn't expensive, but it's very, very good. So yeah, health and safety 101. Look at that. It's dusty in here. As soon as you take off that dust mask, wow. Right, I'm going to let the dust settle, but that, it's 20 past 10. 5 minutes of that I spent going upstairs to get the battery charger for the batteries. So it took me 15 minutes to get that off. Right, I'm going to let the dust settle and then I'll come back. I have just finished all of this, tidying up the edges so they're all nice and crisp now on both sides. I just need to run across the top there, just finish up a final few little bits. Now, this has highlighted a problem. A lot of the plaster back there has blown out, and it's going to leave this gap here. So what I'm going to have to do is fill up underneath there and fill up behind there. And that's just all I can do. Also, I'm going to have to do a little bit of repointing here. The old boy that was here before has tried doing the pointing with Gyprock Easy Fill, which is a little bit ambitious. Yeah, I can sort that, that's fine. And I'm just going to go over this again and give it a final scrape down, I think. Some of the brick and stuff where they've done it, because they've obviously known they're going to be plastering it. They've not really worried too much. So the plan is to hoover it down with this. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a second. But the plan is to hoover the whole wall down and then cover it in a couple of coats of water and PVA mix. And then I'll potentially varnish it if that doesn't bring it up. The first mix will basically just be water, and I'll just be washing the bricks. And then after that, I'll be doing the PVA. I've got my bucket, an old mop head unit. You can see it's filled with water, warm water and fairy liquid. I haven't done equal parts of water, salt and fairy liquid. There's no way I'm getting that much salt and I'm not wasting that much fairy liquid. But it's really, really greasy, and you can still feel the grit of the salt in here as well. So yeah, hopefully this should work. So I'm going to slop it on and leave it soak for a bit.
Has washed all of the bricks from the solution.
Yep.
And now we're going to let it sit for a bit. After that, he's going to rinse it down, and then he will repoint it where needed.
The other nice thing about doing this is it also gives you a slight view of what it will look like once it is varnished. The light bits are where it's drying out already. The brick is just absorbing all of it. That moisture is just going straight in. So, but the darker bits you saw in the time lapse will show you what it might look like when it's finished, which is nice. You can see just how dusty this is. But that came off so quickly. Again, this thing's absolutely brilliant. Really, really good quality piece of kit. Very heavy with one hand at full reach, but you're not really using it like that most of the time, are you? So, very pleased. 2 loose bricks, one there, one there. I'll have to butter those and put them back in. Bit of repointing to do, but otherwise another clean looking wall. Bit of tidying up to do now. I thought I would just give you a quick update on this. I've washed this wall twice now and it is still looking really quite dusty. I've been using a fairly strong mix of soap and water and salt. And the salt will help to break down any of the plaster that's seeped in. But it's just not working, and you can still see there are quite a lot of bits here of old plaster that are stuck on like this that are coming off. I'm bored of washing this and then hoovering the floor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the hoover in one hand with it switched on, and I'm going to scrape with the other, and I'm going to systematically go along and scrub the bricks with the scraper, just a normal decorating scraper, and see if that makes any difference. If not, I might try a wire brush. I'll just do a course or two, see how that works. I'll try a wire brush, and I will let you guys know which is the best solution for cleaning the brick. Definitely have a hoover, because the amount of dust this kicks up is horrible. I'm still going to have my face mask on. I'll give it a couple of passes and I'll let you know, and then we can review and see which is best. I don't know if you're going to be able to see a clear before and after, but this thing is awesome for scraping the brick. The reason that it's really good is because you can get nice and flat and tight on the brick, but also you can smooth out and smooth across on the pointing as well in between the bricks, and so I've got really, really crisp, smooth lines up and down now, which just makes all the difference, I think. The difficulty with this is it does not get into the crevices on the brick. So it smoothed it flat, but it does not scrub it clean, versus the brush, the wire brush, which gets into all of those little cracks over time and cleans it up in a very, very different way. And so you end up with a cleaner brick this way, but a smoother brick this way. And so sadly, you basically need to go over the whole thing twice, because that's nice and smooth and that's nice and clean. And then once you've done that, you can then actually wash the thing, take all the dust off, because there is still now dust on here. But you can take that dust off, and once you've taken that dust off, you'll end up with a really crisp looking wall, I think. That's my expectation and my hope. But this thing's not bad, but getting off stubborn bits of plaster like this doesn't really work as well. It just powders the thing up, versus this, which chips it off and knocks it off like that, and you can kind of get behind it and lever and pop it off. This grey stuff is especially stubborn. The lighter sandstone coloured stuff, the original, is a lot softer. But a combination of the two, metal wire brush and the painter's decorating knife, between the two of those, although it's a little bit of a longer job, you'll end up with a really, really clean brick with nice crisp edges. And I think that's the best way forward. So I've finished with the decorator's knife, the scraper, and I'm really pleased. I don't know if you can see how smooth and straight those grout lines are, but they are a heck of a lot better. Now I need to go over with the steel brush and scrape it again. And what I'm going to do this time, I'm not just going to scrape it dry, I'm going to make up a solution of powdered soap. In this case I'm just going to use a bath bomb, equal parts of powdered soap and salt, and then a bit of warm water as well, just to make it into a slurry and a paste, which basically just helps kind of work it in and lift any of this last leftover bit. What I did do, and I don't know if you guys have got a brick hoover or a dust hoover, I've spoken about this in the past, really, really useful and helpful. If you have a straight end like this with bristles, what I did is I just ran this up and down the wall with the hoover switched on, and that really helped to take lift a lot of the dust off as well. So that as a technique is quite good to get a lot of the loose dust off, and it made a big difference to how much I had to clean up the floor. Scraping with the hoover switched on just underneath the scraper really does make a difference. So got that one to do, then I've got to go around over and do this one, which is slightly bigger. But in the meantime, I am going to get this paste going, and I'll show you what that looks like now. You can see here where I have scrubbed the wall with the paste, and the side where I haven't. That was just brushed with the scraper, and that one was scrubbed with this kind of slurry. So it's a mix of a unicorn bath bomb donated by my daughter, some fairy liquid, some salt, and some warm water, and then just a wet cloth to apply it, as you saw, and then the wire brush to scrape it as well. I'm really pleased with how this has come up. It looks really, really nice. The colours come back a lot, and you can see a marked difference between the two. It'll be interesting to see when this dries fully, to see how different it looks from that. So I'm now going to stop for a little bit and let it dry out and see how it comes up, and I will show you in a second. Okay guys, this will just be a quick screen swipe for you, but for me it's 2 hours later, and you can still see a very marked difference between that side that I scrubbed and that side that I didn't. I am really, really pleased with this, because when it next gets wet with a varnish or anything like that, it will come up really nicely. The colours will look great. So I'm going to do the process again on this side, scrub it clean, and then rinse and repeat on that side as well. So very, very pleased with that. So this has now been fully washed, this wall. All that remains to do is to coat it in a mixture of PVA and water mixed in together. You can see how different that wall is versus that wall there, which hasn't been done at all yet. We've just been stripping some more wallpaper there. So that one is still very dusty when compared with that one. Completely different. Now, I will say what I have just spent a long time doing is washing the wall again. Just with water, just washing every single brick, rubbing it, rinsing. And what I would do is I would wash along one whole course, and then I'll rinse my brush in a bucket, and then wash the next one, and so on and so forth, all the way along from top to bottom. And that really does seem to have made a difference. I'm really, really pleased. You know, there's always going to be a little bit of dust on brick. You could spend your lifetime washing them, but actually these are coming up very, very clean. I mean, my hand, you can see how long my hands have been in water. But these are clean. These are clean. So I'm really pleased with that. So, bit of repointing to do. Colour matching, that's going to be a pain. Don't know how to do that. I don't think you can ever colour match. I mean, you know, best part of 100 years apart. I'm not even going to really bother trying too much. You know, it's a patchwork brick type effect, so I'm not that bothered.